This is WhyBeAre with BeamNG.drive, and today we're going to be taking a look at a mod as a Peugeot 205 GTI to the game. Or if you're an American, it's a PEUGEOT 205 GTI. And with this mod, we only have one version of the vehicle available at this time. That is the 4-cylinder 1.9 liter model, but we can choose the color. And choose we will, because red is the worst color you can get as far as I'm concerned for this vehicle, and any other color is cooler. Why? Because all versions of the vehicle have that red stripe, and when you have a red car, you can't see the red stripe as good. We can actually see the red stripe. Yeah, the car looks 10 times cooler with that red stripe. Anyways, so here is a look at the outside of the vehicle, and as far as I know, it looks like a 205 GTI. To be honest, as an American, I've never seen a Peugeot in real life in my life. There are some on the roads in America, but I've just never seen any. So if we hop onto the inside, there's one funny thing I like about the gauges. For some reason, these gauges go 0, 10, 20, 30, 40 on the tachometer. No idea why. I thought it was kind of funny that I did that because I'm so used to seeing just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Anyways, for the gauges, though, we have all the functionality you like to see. The tachometer works, the speedometer works. You got all these lights to light up. You got the parking brake light. You got the headlight light, which also lights up the rest of the gauges. Then you got the high beam lights. You got the blinker lights. And when you hit the blinker lights, that also moves the lever on the stock. So good stuff there. And we look down, we also got good stuff down here. Steering wheel works, pedals work. And for some reason, I really like the texture on this chair. Like, I can zoom in a lot on this before it starts to look blurry for some reason. It's just like a really neat looking texture on the chair. Anyways, zooming back out, seeing where we ended up driving when we weren't even looking. And I think it's time to go back to the outside of the vehicle and do some driving. And if you couldn't tell, we are on the Italy map in the port location because Italy and France are basically the same thing because Peugeot is a French brand. So let's try a little hit. Just a tiny one right there. Okay, that probably didn't do enough damage. We need a bigger hit. Let's go for a medium hit, and then we'll take a look at the damage. So I'll get this thing up to hopefully about 50 miles per hour before we make impact. There's 50, even almost 60, and there's impact. How does that look? There we go. That got a good amount of damage to take a look at. Overall, looks like it's gonna be okay for driving, so we'll keep on going with only one headlight working. To be honest, I don't need either of the headlights because it's daytime right now. So I should probably just turn them off, but I'm just break it instead. Or, yeah, I did break it. I almost shot the car into the trash can. I wonder if you can even actually do that, or if that was just really lucky. I gotta try that again, but real quickly, here's a look at the damage on the vehicle before we reset it and then try to trash can it. Damage on the side and back is pretty much the same, but we got a little more damage over here on the front left fender and the hood. So, let's reset it. And I'm only going to do one quick attempt to dumpster the car. I just want to see, is it something that could actually be done consistently, or did I just get really, really lucky somehow? So I think last time I slid into it a little bit, so we do a little slide, and yeah, that is probably something you could actually do consistently the way I got popped up right there. So we'll get this thing back onto its wheels, and I'm pretty sure it can keep driving after that. Well, it can't steer too well, though. Oh, actually, I don't think it can steer at all. No, it cannot steer at all. So we're going to have to reset this, but I'll give you guys a look at the damage. You'll notice the front left wheel is inverted, and I think it's actually still putting down power. So I got to mess around with this a little bit. I'm going to save this and then reset the vehicle, load up the damage, and then try to drive this thing in reverse, because it seemed like it did a little better job in reverse than forward. Okay, that's really weird. It looked like it was driving forward for a second, didn't it? There, right now, it looks like it's driving forward. How weird looking. This is the weirdest looking thing I've ever seen a car do. So I'm almost certain at this time what's happening is it's still putting down power to both the wheels, but one of the wheels has been inverted. So you have one wheel spinning forward and the other one spinning in reverse, and it's just kind of a fight between the two wheels in which direction to go, which is why it's bouncing all over the place. I wasn't doing any steering through that whole time. And right now, we're clear as day in reverse. But the car looks like it's going in forward. That's just a really funny way to damage the vehicle and make it be able to do that. Anyways, we're now done with that, so we'll reset the vehicle. And let's try to do some driving that actually shows off its driving capabilities at least a little bit. So the way this car drives is pretty similar to the PEUGEOT. After all, they're both older hatchbacks that are just front-wheel drive. Although I would say this one is a little bit more understeery, where the PEUGEOT really likes to slide all over the place when you slap that e-brake. This one, you have to do a little bit more convincing, it feels like, to get it to really slide around the corners the way I'd want it to sometimes. So there you go. There's some decent cornering. Now let's do a sliding maneuver crash. Right into the wall. Engine is off. It's fine. It's back on. And you can see the damage doesn't look too bad. In fact, this thing looks like it's even driving pretty much straight still, so we are good to go. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna keep crashing the car little by little until it eventually is immobilized. Like this ramp, that's a great place to go because you're gonna fly through the air and bounce around a bit. Hopefully we land on our wheels with a working vehicle. On our wheels, vehicle works good enough. It is pulling a bit to the side now, but it's completely manageable. Can we tap that? Perfect. That did like no damage at all. That was the lightest tap I could have done, but I still tapped it. And now we gotta find the next target, and if I can't find one soon, we're gonna be going really fast on this next crash. I gotta find something, that container, that'll work fine. We're just gonna clip it. That was a clip. Oh, now we're gonna hit that light pole. Get some 8x slow-mo on that. And you can really see that car crunching there. That looked painful. Still it drives somehow. That's actually pretty impressive. What's going on with the passenger seat? The passenger, he is so comfortable right now. He don't even care. I'm wrecking the thing. He's just leaning back like, it's all good, dude. I'm comfortable. Do what you need to do. As long as you get me to my destination, dude, I'm going to give you 5 stars in the app. It don't matter. Except we're not going to get to his destination, are we? We're going to keep wrecking this thing up little by little. Oh, I can't even steer good enough to hit that ramp. Instead, we hit the curb, which is not good for the vehicle. That really does bad things, like catches it on fire somehow. I think what happened is the fuel tank got punctured a bit ago. It caught on fire and then it said, I'm done being on fire. Being on fire is too much work. And we're still driving somehow. This thing is really falling apart. I have very, very little steering. In fact, after that impact, I have virtually no steering. That is going to be the end. So hopefully the dude's location that he wanted to arrive at is right here because we ain't going anywhere else. In fact, I even killed the engine. But we got damage all over the place on this thing. Every single piece that could be damaged has been damaged. A lot of damage to look at. So that's why I'm really panning over this thing so you guys get a really good look before I 3, 2, 1, reset it. And let's try to get out of the port because I've been in the port the whole time so far. There's much more to Italy. We just gotta drive more than a few feet before we crash. I mean, basically what we've done so far is we went to Italy and then at every restaurant we go to, we just say, can I get spaghetti and meatballs? And then you get angry when they don't have spaghetti and meatballs at the restaurant. And then you get even more angry when you can't find an Olive Garden to get some real Italian food. And to be honest, I kind of lost where I was going with that. The point is I wanted to go somewhere else, and that has been accomplished. We are in a different part of the map. We keep driving a little bit more to make sure we really distance ourselves from the port before we crash the vehicle. I probably want to do a high-speed crash. Like, that would have actually been a decent place to do it, because we would have probably been going about 70 miles per hour before the crash, which is what I want to do. I want to have a pretty head-on collision, because I've done a lot of little bumps and bruises so far for this vehicle, but I haven't done an obliteration. And actually, I just thought of a good place to do this. If we continue along this road and then go to the left, we will find a roundabout, and then we could just plow through the roundabout and see what happens, because plowing through roundabouts is always fun, and I don't actually think I've done that on this specific roundabout, so I genuinely don't know exactly what's going to happen here. I assume it's going to crash in one of the trees in the middle, because if I remember correctly, there are quite a few trees in the middle of this thing. Yeah, there are a bunch of trees, but we might be able to sneak in between them if we angle it right. Yeah, it's angled right. Get over the bump. Little bit of damage to the suspension there. Maybe a lot. Kind of hard to tell. And now we're just flying. We are in the air flying over the roundabout, and we're making it surprisingly far. Can we get through these trees? Nope, we're going to crash. Oh, no, we're not going to crash. We go straight through that tree. We are still just flying. All right. Okay, here's another tree. Are we going to crash into this tree? No, we actually just went over it, it looked like. Okay, there's no avoiding this part, though. We have to crash into this building, and we are going at decent speed, so this should do some good damage to the vehicle. Even using 100 times slow-mo, so you can really see the damage. The front suspension is probably ruined after seeing the way that tire bent. Go ahead and speed up the slow-mo a little bit since the main collision is done, but we might get a little bit more damage when this thing hits the ground, although the camera angle is not great for that. Awkward angle. How about down here? There we go. There's a good angle to see the roof get a little crushed. No, it's actually pretty sturdy there. Now, can we look at the damage easily? Maybe. Let's see. Can we get a good camera angle? Although the vehicle's upside down, that's still a decent camera angle to see the damage if you invert your head a little bit. How about the other side? How's that side look? It is pretty damaged if I can get the right angle, but nothing too out of the ordinary there overall. Maybe a couple of things that look tiny spiky, but not bad. So here's what I want to do though. I want to have a collision between this vehicle and the BeamNG.drive because those vehicles are very, very similar. Because as far as I can tell, They are both hatchbacks from about the same era. I don't actually know the exact year for the Corvette, but I know the 205 GTI was a late 80s, early 90s vehicle, and looking at the Corvette, yeah, I could see that vehicle also being in that time period. So they are set up. We tell them to go ahead and chase me, and if everything goes according to plan, we should be able to crash into each other at a decent speed. I think it's going to be going about 60 miles per hour each. Do I see them coming? Yes, I do. Collision is imminent. Let's get the slow-mo going and watch the crash. That is a perfect collision right in the corner. I like those collisions more than the head-on ones, because then you get a good variety of damage, because it looks different on the left versus right sides of the vehicle. Go to full speed, and now let's analyze the impact. So to compare the damage between these two vehicles, we need to look at left side, and then right side and right side. So left side of the 205, the door is mostly all right. It's a little bit misshapen, but it still fits in the vehicle perfectly fine. Over on the Corvette, and I would say it's a pretty similar outcome. It might look a little bit straighter, but you can see there's definitely some damage to it considering the window is blown out. And then over to the right side. This one, you can see the door is definitely shifted back a bit because it's been pushed back from the damage. And same goes for the Corvette. That door has been pushed back the pillar. How about the fronts? The fronts, it's a little bit hard to tell because they're intersecting a bit. You can easily see the engine from the Corvette, but the engine from the 205 is a little bit hidden, which I should actually show you now that I think about it, because the engine on the 205 is its own little model. So how about, now that we're done comparing the damage, we'll reset the 205, tear the hood off, and then we can take a closer look at the engine. Now, it's a pretty basic engine. After all, it's just a 1.9 liter 4-cylinder engine, but it is its own unique model, so I've decided it was worth taking a peek at. There's a peek. I think you can also see it if you go underground a little bit. Yeah, there's another good angle to see the underside of it. You can also see the suspension of the vehicle some here too. I like that it has yellow and red in the suspension. I don't know if that's realistic or not, but I always like colored suspension components, and I don't know why. Anyways, I want to tell you the bad part of the mod. The bad news is this mod is still in a pretty early state. Like, this vehicle is pretty good, but that's all there is to the mod. In the future, the guy who's making the mod plans to add a lot more parts and configurations and stuff, but right now, there aren't any alternative parts even. You have just the parts that are on the vehicle, and that's it. So that's pretty much all we can do with the vehicle for now. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up by going to some brutal slope, followed by some leap of death. And just for the heck of it, we're going to do things a little bit differently this time. Instead of backing up the vehicle and then resetting it, we're just going to replace it right there and then flip it around with the 205, which actually worked fine. Yeah, I have no problem with that. So anyways, we go down the slope nice and careful initially, just like always, and then we go fast. And I just now noticed, actually, that this car does not have a license plate. It has all the other stuff you want on the back, though. You know, when I was showing off the blinkers and stuff, the blinkers actually work, the brake lights work, but I just now noticed, for some reason, that it doesn't have a license plate. It took me that long to notice. I guess I just don't look at the license plate that much. Anyways, time to crash into the wall. Engine just blew up, but we're still going about 200 miles per hour before impact. Do the slow-mo, maximum slow-mo, camera off the vehicle, and then watch as it gets squashed. You know, it's one of those things where you watch this and you almost wish you could do more than 100 times slow-mo, but you can't. That's as much slow-mo as you can possibly do. So the vehicle is now on fire just a little bit. And the damage overall is exactly what you'd expect from brutal slope. No significant glitching or anything like that, so that's pretty good. And now we'll go ahead and move on to leap of death. It is kind of nice now that I think about it. When you spawn up the vehicle, you only have to click on the vehicle itself because that's the only option there is. You don't have to worry about going into the sub menu. Just click, and you're good to go. So we're going to go off the jump at a decent speed. It's going to be about 50 to 60 miles per hour. And now we just let it fly and bounce off the rev limiter. It's always better to bounce off the rev limiter, it seems like. It flies better somehow. Well, most vehicles do. This one, maybe not so much. So here's impact number one, right onto the side of the vehicle. This is going to be harsh. Oh, that is bad impact. Like, not bad in the vehicle didn't stand well, but bad in that hit hard. Oh my goodness, camera, what are you doing? The camera's like, yeah, that was a hard hit, man. I'm shaking, it was so hard. That thing really just got mangled. I could not tell you what car this was any longer. It's just been so oddly shaped after that impact. It's just really weird. I mean, it almost looks like it's a 2D car. It's so flat. All right, anyways, let's go to real time now. Let it just roll its way down brutal slope and get as damaged as it can. I actually like it when you get a crash that's a little bit different. Like all the time, it just kind of comes a ball, but this one became a stick. Doesn't usually do that. That's neat. I wonder. Yeah, it just still works fine. It's okay, guys. I can drive out of this. Yeah, early version of the mod. That's one of those things that can always be implemented in the future, where the engine will actually break from something ridiculous like that. It does drown though with the water, so that's a positive. I guess I'll go ahead and let it touch the ground, and really there's not too much to look at down here. It's just a piece of metal. But I do want to see, can we do that again? Or was I just really lucky to get a really interesting looking crash? I'm going to try to do this as close to the same as I was before. I'm pretty sure I just went straight at it and I was flooring it the whole time. I even floored it while I was in the air. I remember specifically saying that. And we're going upside down just kind of like before. Oh, this looked pretty similar. Oh, but it's hidden in a completely different spot. It actually skewered itself. My goodness. That is extremely rare. And just looking at the damage, that thing is just completely destroyed. Wow. That caught me off guard. That really, really caught me off guard. And just looking at the damage, wow. Okay. You know what? Seeing how badly this thing flies through the air, that gave me an idea. We gotta take this to Car Jump Arena, because when a car flies bad, it does some interesting things here. And I'm gonna keep the procedure nice and simple. We get the 205. Do people actually call it the 205? Like, to me, that's just the easiest name to say that would actually reference the vehicle. I don't even know if that's the thing. But anyways, it's the 205 to me. We grab the 205, we just floor it the whole time. That's it. Floor it the whole time. Maybe a little bit of steering left and right. Try to keep it straight if we have any problems. But keeping it as simple as we can, and we're going to see what happens. Now, flooring it should keep the car level, but this thing is so front heavy, it likes to go forward like that. And that's how you get the good crashes at Car Jump Arena. The ones where it really bounces all over the place and you don't know what exactly it's going to look like when it's done. And for this one, it is actually not done yet. I was going to say it looks like that, but it's going to bounce through the sand. Is it going to get to the water? Not quite. That's actually the perfect place to stop. But for this one, it's going to look like that. And that's going to do it for this video. Till next time, this has been WhyBeAre. And remember, if you like or dislike this video, I will know. I can tell based on the quality of the textures used on the car interiors. So do the right thing, and I'll see you next time.